Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. Today on the podcast, let's talk about doing coffee differently. What do I mean by doing coffee differently? I don't just mean, or I don't only mean, brewing coffee when I talk about coffee. I mean the business of coffee, the production of coffee, the technology behind coffee, the technology behind the businesses behind coffee. I mean all of it. We as an industry, is it time to start doing things as individuals and as businesses differently? And yes, it is. I'm not saying that our industry is broken. I'm not saying we're all doing everything wrong. I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong. What I'm saying is that this is a moment in time for each of us to consider, are the things that I'm doing being done the way that I'm doing them because they've always just been done that way? I'm a huge advocate for innovation. I teach it. I encourage it through all the coaching. I question everybody that is a client of mine to stretch their thinking beyond anything that they normally think of. And I'm very, very proud of the people that we coach and seeing them push themselves beyond anything that they thought they were capable of. As a result of that, they're opening businesses and taking their businesses in directions that they never thought that they would go. As a result, we're seeing happier people. We're seeing more inspired coffee professionals and coffee small business owners. And the one thing that I see as a common thread throughout all of that is that they are more inspired and more motivated to be present in their businesses, at work in their businesses every day, more so than the day before. And that, coming off the last episode of this podcast where we were talking about life currencies, that's something that keeps you going even when things are really, really hard. And recently I had a conversation with Fabiola and Diego Barayona, the children of the recently deceased Gilberto Barayona. And we had a conversation with them on the podcast. And we were talking about how they're the next generation at the very young ages of 26 and 22 to be taking over as the sixth generation of producers in their line, in their heritage line. And we talked about what are they going to be doing differently? What are the what ifs they're going to try? And we had a great discussion around that. The idea that they want to bring technology into the way that they market their products. They want to use social media very differently to the way that other people are using social media. And it's just so very important that we consider in our own businesses, in our own way of doing coffee, what can we do differently to shift to the gear in the way that we are starting to move within the industry? Because the world has changed, the way that people consume has changed, and despite what we might think about vaccines coming, and they are here, absolutely, the world is not going to go back to a normal ever. The world has changed. How will you adapt to that changing world, and how will you adapt the way that you do business to that? So I just wanted to put that out as a bit of a food for thought, because it's important that we continue to evolve and push ourselves beyond the scope of what we think is working and identify the ways that we can grow so we're constantly ahead of the curve. Is there a piece of technology that you've been thinking, well, I really got to get onto that online store, or I really need to think about adding roasting or roasted coffee to our offerings, and how do I go about doing that? Do I need to learn how to become a roaster? Do I need to hire a roaster? Do I need to find a co-roasting facility and see if somebody can white label the coffee for me? All of these things are ways that you need to look at changing what you're doing to keep things fresh, to keep your mind moving, to keep the way that you're evolving as a business current and perhaps a little bit ahead of current, so that your customers continue to get engaged, your staff are constantly inspired, and you are constantly asking yourself, what wealth am I building in my life currencies? Just a little food for thought. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.